Welcome back, everybody, to the 1987 Supermod. This is my AWA save. We are currently in July of 1987, and our next event here is tour date number 64, and it's going to be held in Winnipeg, Manitoba. I got some questions from the previous episode covering this save, asking about crowd burnout and such. Let me show you how I have my settings set up. Again, I strive for realism, and there's just certain things in TEW 2020 that aren't realistic, and they actually prohibit a realistic gameplay. Again, 2020 seems to be made for modern day episodic television wrestling. Well, that's not what we're doing here with the Supermod. We're trying to run this like an old school wrestling company. House shows are turned off because we're actually playing the house shows. And stuff like crowd burnout and that is not going to exist and did not exist because it's not episodic television. This is set up for a live event touring company that used television to promote the live events. So we're going to go over to, well, first we can go through my current settings. I take off regeneration. I think it's ridiculous. I take off auto fix and balances. Pretty much the rest of that stuff is the same. Injury frequency I put low. I found if you have it on medium or higher, there's just way too many injuries. Randomness is low. Relationship frequency is medium. Death frequency is low. I'm sorry. We lost Luthez a couple weeks ago in this save. It always makes things interesting. Obviously, Dirty Tricks is on. Chemistry Effects is on. Growth Limits is on. And Strict Storylines is turned off. Kenny Deaths is turned off. Strict Boom and Bust is turned off. So going over to preferences now, I'll show you how I play. How I play may not be for everybody, but this is what I found in order to enjoy the Supermod to its highest potential. So the repetitive booking penalty is turned off. Crowd management's turned off. Gimmick effects is turned off. Worker morale is turned off. Locker room morale is turned off. Those things just really did not have the effect that this game acts like they do. A worker was still going to do his job no matter what, and was not going to sandbag or have a poor match. If he did, he was going to be gone and then get blacklisted from other territories by the other wrestlers. So I just find it unrealistic and unnecessary in a save. Dirt sheets on, of course. Industry and economy's on. Booking times is cool. Crowd burnout, I turn that off because I think it's ridiculous. You have to record television shows, and if you follow the way TV shows were really recorded back then, especially the studio shows, sometimes these recordings went for 8 to 10 hours. So, did you ever see the crowd dead on TV in 1987 because the recordings went too long? No. Match ratios is turned off. Pro mode's turned off. Momentum is turned off. Drag and drop booking mode. I don't know why that's turned off, but I'm going to turn that back on. I'm glad I checked this. Mandatory pre-bookings turned off. Pre-booking bonuses turned off. Overuse warnings turned off. Production effects, that's another one I think is ridiculous. If people were watching a wrestling show or going to a live event, it's pretty much because that was the only option in their local area. So they didn't have too much to compare to. I was in a different situation when I was a kid in the 80s watching wrestling. I remember on Saturdays, we would have the WWF would be on WFLD, Channel 32, and also on USA on Saturday mornings. And then we were able to catch World Class, and we also caught Jim Crockett Promotions too on TBS. And you could see the production differences. Absolutely. You could see that the WWF was, ahead of everybody else. But I don't think it was like that in all markets. Just that's just my opinion. So I turn that off because I really don't think it should play as big of a factor as it does in this game. It kind of ruins the experience. So that's my settings. That's how we do things. Yeah, I'll leave those on permanently now. So let's head back to my save. So once again, we're in the third week of July. We're finishing up Sunday, which is our 3-day tour schedule for the third week of July. We're going to be in Winnipeg. So we're going to go ahead and forward and get ready and get headed into the tour date. So here we are in the window. First thing I'm going to do is change where we're at. So we're going up to Canada, Manitoba. Let's see what our save's at. Let's set this between 2 and 3,000 and see what we get at first. Okay, Winkler Arena's at 3,000. Whitney Forum. Let's stick with Winkler Arena. We ran here last time too. Okay, now let's check out what we got going on backstage. Chuck Greenlee, enhancement talent. Yeah, he's having some fun. Vivian St. John and Bockwinkel. Oh, wrestlers court business. Absent workers, the usuals, all the people you see for the WWF here, they also work as enhancement talent for the WWF. So I tend to lose them for a lot of events. Eddie Guerrero, I wasn't aware that he was working for Crockett, so I'm going to have to check him when this is done to find out what his status is and what he's got going on there. Hopefully he didn't sign a contract with them and I don't know about it. That wouldn't be good. I just brought him in to replace Mondo. So we're going to go ahead and get started booking here. We got our arena set. So our first match is Vivian Vachon. She's a very talented babyface. She's taken on Sherry Martel, who's the women's champion. So obviously, well, we're in Canada here, and I think Vivian Vachon might be from Canada. Yeah, she's the aunt of Luna and the sister to Mad Dog and Butcher. Yeah, so she is a Canadian. We're going to have her go over here by DQ. 12-minute match. This is just a 7-minute card. I'm sorry, a 7-match card. And she's good. Let's see if Sherry complains, though. She might. There we go. Vivian's going over. We're going to have her go over by DQ. Yeah, she's complaining. All right, let's keep Sherry happy here, but let's keep it ending in a DQ. So Vachon keeps some face here in Canada. Yeah, it's a DQ. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, we got the Guerrero brothers versus the Russians. This is Chavo and Hector. They're both available. The Russians, in case you didn't know, in the AWA at this time was Boris Zhukov and Soldat Ustinov. Zhukov was very talented. Ustinov was just a big guy. If you remember correctly, I think it was later this year, early 1988, Zhukov ended up leaving the AWA and going to the WWF, where he was put in a tag team with Nikolai Volkov as the Bolsheviks. They were two huge dudes. I don't know if they ever actually won a match at an event. They were pretty much used as fodder, but they did always go over the enhancement guys on the regular television shows. So here's Soldat Ustinov. They're both managed by Sheikh Adnan, LKC, which is kind of funny if you think about it. that a Muslim sheikh would be doing business with communists, but whatever, politics aside. I don't care who wins this match, so I'm just going to leave it open. We have Ali Khan, big jacked up dude. He had a good look. Never amounted to much, but I'm going to try to make something of him in this save. He's going to take on the assassin, who is old, flabby, dumpy, but can still work. So this should be a 14-minute match. We'll double check. Sure enough, going up to the 14-minute matches here. So Khan versus Assassin. Again, I don't care who wins. I guarantee you Jody Hamilton, the Assassin, is going to end up taking that one. So LKC is actually going to wrestle against Jerry Lawler here. Now, Jerry Lawler is an interesting situation here in this game. So he has a exclusive written contract with the Continental Wrestling Association, but in real life, he was making a lot of dates for the AWA at this point. In fact, he ended up becoming the AWA World Heavyweight Champion on May 8th of 1987. So there was like a partnership for him between the AWA, CWA, and then World Class at the time. They were loaning wrestlers to each other. At one point, Crockett was with them also in Pro Wrestling USA in an attempt to thwart McMahon. By this point, Crockett had dropped out, so now it is just World Class, AWA, and CWA. Eventually, there would be a merger of sorts, and that's a conversation for a different time. But in this game where we're at right now, I have Jerry Lawler on a loan. Now, I had to cheat in order to get Lawler on the loan. So I created an alliance, which again is not too far off from the truth. I created an alliance between the AWA, CWA, and World Class, and they're able to loan wrestlers from each other just like any regular alliance would work. The only problem is that the CWA started not wanting to loan Lawler to me anymore because of how many times I was using him. I'm using him at least once a week here, which is realistic and exactly what was going on in the AWA at the time. So what I did is I went in as a different player and then loaned Lawler to myself in exchange for the Midnight Rockers, which was true. The Midnight Rockers were pulling dates for the CWA back then in order to get Lawler here for a long period of time. I'll do the same thing when his dates are reached, but it's just unfortunately what you have to do to make it realistic. So we got Lawler versus LKC. This is a 14-minute bout. Lawler is going to go over. I'm going to push Lawler to the moon here. If I decide to keep the belt on Bockwinkel, which I may, because the guy's an excellent champion in this save, I may have a round between him and Lawler for the belt. So we'll see. We have Greg Gagne versus Billy Robinson here. It's going to be a 16-minute match. You know, a lot of people bag on Greg Gagne, and they're right to do so. He did get a lot of favoritism because of who his dad was and the fact that his dad owned the AWA. But Greg Gagne was a very good wrestler, and he was technically sound. He made a really good tag team with Jim Brunzell in the 70s, and he was a good wrestler. He just had a bad look. He was lacking a bit in charisma, but in the ring he put on good matches. So I understand everybody giving him a hard time, but in all fairness, he at the end of the day he was a pretty good wrestler, and he had a decent mind for wrestling. So Gagne versus Robinson here. I don't care who wins, but it is 16 minutes. Both are good technical wrestlers. Let's make this a technical masterclass because they would put on a display. Next match, we're going to go with Von Raschke and McDaniel versus Rosen Summers. just after, or for the Crockett Cup in '87, and just after Von Raschke and McDaniel were tagging together in Crockett. So I decided to bring that tag team here to the AWA to have them work together in the tag division for a while. So they're all right together. They're not bad. So here's the match. We're gonna get it lined up here. McDaniel, Von Raschke versus, who are they wrestling again? Rosen Summers. This is an 18-minute match. Rosen Summers are a good team. There's a reason that they held the belts for a couple times. So apparently I set this over. We should be able to drag right over. Let's see if it happens. Nope, nothing's dragging. Is there a way to change this? Okay, singles tag team view. Here we go. Boy, I've only been playing this game for 2 years now, and now I'm finally learning. Okay. Again, I don't care who wins this match. It's a tour, so we're just going to leave it be. Our main event is Colonel DeBeers and Sergeant Slaughter. We're going to try to push them to 25 minutes. Colonel DeBeers was an entertaining guy. He's probably underrated overall. He was a good worker with a very controversial gimmick at the time. I liked him, and I like using him in the save. So this has just been changed up. I was using a different tour schedule before, so I want to see how these two work together on tour here and see if we can't make a permanent feud between them. Again, I don't care who wins. Nah, let's go ahead and have Slaughter go over here. This is a little bit of a gamble because I don't know how good a numbers DeBeers is going to put up. This is definitely a gamble for this card. So there's our card. The 7 matches we booked. It's going to take about 125 minutes again. That is realistic to what the AWA used to do. Used to do 2-hour, 2.5-hour shows. So let's go ahead and get rolling here and see what we can do number-wise. 51. So Vivian Vachon's popularity must not be that high here in Canada. And that makes sense because I think she was from Quebec. We're all the way on the other side of the country, so that's all right. Ooh, the Guerreros go over the Russians. Nice. Man, Chavo and Hector were smooth, especially together. What a team. So that's a decent match there, especially being held in a different country. Ali Khan goes over the Assassin. Wow, I did not expect that to happen. Randomness can be fun here. Nice. Lawler getting a 76 in Manitoba. That's good, and LKC's got a nice number there too. This is a good match. This is good for the tour. These two, they're working well together and putting up decent numbers. Gagne versus Robinson was pretty low. Let's see. Robinson got well suited. Gagne did not, which is a little surprising. I have to check his stats. But that is correct. Robinson's in his mid to late 40s here. He would have declining physical ability. Good. Rosen Summers. Go over McDaniel and Von Raschke. Okay. That's fair. Bunch of bonuses here. Yeah. McDaniel and Von Raschke are getting penalized for declining ability. That makes sense. So, nice. That's a pretty good rated match. Let's see what this main event's going to do here. I'm a little nervous about this one. Let's take a guess here. I'm going to go with 72 for the main event, which is going to be low. So let's see what we get. 66. See, this is a problem. but it may only be a problem because it is in Manitoba. This may get better scores in the States. Let's see what the dirt sheet tells us. Well, lots of bonuses. DeBeers is hurting with psychology. That's a factor. Okay, well, I think we're gonna have to start watching who we're using as a road agent too, because I think Nelson Royal's a road agent now. I think there's too many road agents. Greg Gagne and Vern Gagne are really good road agents to have, and it does make a difference with bonuses in the match. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this show. It'll bring us back to the main screen. That's our final numbers showing here. No popularity changes. There wouldn't have been any way we maxed out for this month already. No speech. Gonna take us back home here. See if anything exciting happened in the game world. Not a bad show though, overall, especially for running in Winnipeg. Which, if you didn't know, Winnipeg was a stronghold for the AWA in the 60s and 70s. They used to sell out all the time at the Winnipeg Arena. It was very popular up there. Okay. Guerrero signed a one-night-only deal with Crockett. So that was it. They used them last night and last night only. Let me show you the alliance I was telling you about that I formed. So this is it. It's AWA, CWA, and World Class. This is realistic. All three were working together at this time. And this will make things a lot easier when I set up Super Class 3 next year. I'll try to, if possible, keep it just like the original was. So let's see how we're doing financially here. Wow, we're just bringing it in with merchandise. Yeah, we're doing. It's a lot of money this year. I'm sorry, this month. This is working well. This formula is working real well. So, well, I think that's it for now, everyone. Got some other tour dates coming up here. We're going to go ahead and highlight down here, indicate what's coming next. And I think we're off TV for the next week because we just recorded, but I could be wrong. So this in the corner here where it says B2W3, that's block 2, week 3. So we're changing to a new block now. So this is going to be a new schedule. As it shows down here. So we're changing things up. This means all the matches shifted. So we're going into St. Paul again, and St. Paul's going to get a fresh view of a card. That's the whole point of doing it like this. So that's all that means. Let's check out how we're doing merchandise-wise. Yeah, Snuka sells a ton. So does Hennig. All right, good deal. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in again to this episode. If there's anything you want to see, any ideas, any comments, let me know. Put them in the comments below. And also, if you would be so kind as to subscribe and give us a like, I'd appreciate it. All right, take care, and we'll see you next time.